If you're shocked by the results of the California gubernatorial recall effort, I'm sorry to say somebody got your hopes up, okay? Because I can tell you for sure that I've always said that it's kind of a long shot, okay? The polls have never been any closer than about 8 points in favor of keeping Gavin Newsom, but the fact that it turned out to be a 2-1 margin of victory to keep him in the office, I don't know, man. Either, this is highly fucking unlikely, so do bear with me and don't take any false assertions that I'm claiming as such. It just seems like either they got super fucking greedy when it came to stuffing some boxes, which, like I said, don't necessarily agree. We'll take a look at the numbers here shortly. But then at the other side, maybe it's just all of the people who are liberty-minded or even remotely Republican fucking flew the coop, okay? I think that the latter is a lot more likely than just blaming it on the former, because A, we're never going to end up finding out what happened because the votes are still being tabulated and, well, the margins right now are just overwhelmingly one-sided. And then B, it's like, well, a couple of weeks ago we covered this as well. It's like, do you ever think that we're going to see an audit to these ballots either way? No, and especially of what they're already planning to do. That's the Democrats in California, because one-party rule means you can get away with a hell of a lot of stuff. So, buyer's regret quickly? I don't know. Maybe because an overwhelming majority of people like being tyrannized? I don't know, okay? Stay out of California, get out of California. I don't know what else to tell you at this point. And if you see a California license plate in your neighborhood, kindly remind them that they're in a place that is great for the reasons that they sought that area. So kindly turn the fuck back and go the fuck home. California Governor Gavin Newsom has defeated a recall bid to oust him from office, his chief rival Republican candidate Larry Elder conceding defeat. But you should see the overwhelming majority of the vote that he got for the people who did in fact vote yes on the recall. It's pretty astounding. And then there's there's also notable people who were on that list who only got maybe 1% of the vote. It's pretty fucking embarrassing. Elder told a crowd of supporters on September 14th that we may have lost the battle, but we are going to win the war, suggesting his first campaign may not be his last. It's going to be a massive uphill battle because those yes, no to recall Newsom, the first ballot question that was on there, more than likely just reflects how the voting population at large is going to vote anyways. I always thought that this would be the best chance of a Republican getting in there, even if it was just for a year to try and clean up some of this disaster. But hey, I guess the Californians are quite the sadomasochistic lot. Unofficial results of the gubernatorial recall election as of 2:55 a.m. on September 15th showed Newsom was likely to remain governor of California. About 63.9% of people were counted as voting no in the election, according to the California Secretary of State office, while 36.1% voted yes, with all precincts partially reporting. Yeah, we actually have more up-to-date numbers right now, and as of right now, yeah, it hasn't really changed that much. 63.9% to get a 5.8 million people to keep Gavin Newsom in office, and just about 3.3, okay? Whenever they do their next update, it'll be 3.3 million people voted to recall Gavin Newsom, which is, twice as many people has voted. And granted, that's only 71% of ballots that have been counted, but it's still called because it's pretty much out of reach at this point, but only getting because the recall effort, it got 1.7, just about 1.8 million signatures to start this entire process off. So that's a pretty sad turnout, especially when you compare it to, well, not but this time last year for the presidential turnout. Like, we got California here, so 6,000 people in California alone turned out to vote for Trump, and only 3 million people, or 3.3, whatever it'll be at the end of it, probably somewhere in on or around 5, high 4s when it's all said and done. The Trump bump is real, folks. But hey, there is cause for celebration, especially if you're a Larry Elder supporter. I would consider myself as such, even though I'd never have the privilege of voting for the man. He got 47% of the vote, okay? when it came to the recall choices that were on there. Like, there's nobody even close. Like, the only other recognizable name, like, there's a couple of people here, like the San Diego mayor, or the former San Diego mayor, my mistake, Kevin Faulconer, 8.6%, as compared to probably the most popular person on the ticket, Caitlyn Jenner. Oh, I only got 1.1% of the vote. That sucks. But you just take a look at the state by state, or rather the county by county breakdown. And, up north, all the yellow is yes to recall them, okay, by a margin of 17 points. In Siskiyou County, Del Norte, 16%. Tehama-based county by 48 points. But then you get around the cities, like even Fresno, man, it's probably at the end of the day gonna flip to be somewhere around even. But then you take a look, you start to go right, the capital, Sacramento, 28 points. San Francisco, 73 points. You're outvoted 4-1 in fucking San Francisco. Los Angeles, a little bit better, 42 points. San Diego, 17 points. California is fucked, my dude. Like I said, either they got super fucking greedy, or the facts are the facts. California is a fucking failed state, okay? It might as well just start raising up the red flag with the fucking stars and Patrick Bateman's fucking beautiful face right in the middle of there. Because it's one party rule, and there ain't no coming back from it. So if everything's on the up and up, like it kind of seems to be, maybe, I don't know. And we're never really going to get to the bottom of it anyways. But just for posterity's sake, the election happened like it probably was always intended and was probably always going to happen like anyways. How did Newsom win? Okay, and what does his victory mean? Well, how did he win? Paid everybody off. Stimulus checks, child tax credits going out to millions of Californians this week. This is from the day before the recall election. This was from Monday, by the way. Check your bank account this week. Millions of state stimulus checks and child tax credit payments will be issued to Californians as part of 2 separate programs. First up is the third round of monthly child tax credits, which have been issued by the IRS and the United States Treasury Department on Wednesday. More than 4 million Californians received the August advance payments, which provide up to $300 per month for qualifying children under the age of 6 and $250 for each qualifying child 6 to 17 years old, according to the Treasury Department. The money benefited about 7 million children in the nation's most populous state and 61 million kids across the United States. And I'm sure all of those single mothers made sure that all of that fucking money was spent directly on the fucking kids, right? The second batch of GSS2 payments, California expects to deposit some 2 million checks into the bank accounts of eligible residents, according to a spokesman for the state's Franchise Tax Board. First round was distributed to 600,000 eligible residents on August 27. The total value of the payment is worth an estimated $354 million, paying people to do nothing. And stayed locked down, and then continue to be stayed locked down, because that's what's on the horizon. But I guess that old campaign rally of the most popular man to have ever lived, literally Elvis, get out of the way. Michael Jackson, who the fuck are you? We had Joe Biden turn up at a Gavin Newsom rally. It really paid off. It really paid off. And this was one of those side effects of Gavin Newsom surviving the recall effort. Gavin Newsom, as according to Joe Biden, or whoever told him to say this, Gavin Newsom's recall victory validates California's handling of the pandemic. One of the most vaccinated states with the highest new caseloads and some of the highest per capita. This is all per capita, not just because California is the most populous state. It is per capita, by the way. Most cases, most deaths, most hospitalizations. Gavin Newsom's recall victory validates that platform. Okay. Cool. Was it his handling, or was it the fact that everybody was just trying to scare you into believing that his handling of the pandemic was the right way to do it, and that those mean guys in Florida and in Texas are just doing it wrong? They're literally killing everybody, like literally. You should see the fucking idiots that are out there. I seen one hilarious tweet. It was obviously satirical, and it was totally meant to be that way, but it was referencing another very stupid tweet from Stephen King. Yes, yes, the author Stephen King, who is an absolute fucking brainlet. He might be one of the best fiction writers of all time. I don't read fiction books because I'm not a 9-year-old girl. But he made the claim that 1,800 people died in Florida yesterday. Can you believe the handling of Ron DeSantis? I'm paraphrasing, but he made some kind of backwards claim like that. Posted it. Somebody did inform him that he did fuck up, and then of course, much like mainstream media, posts a retraction that gets a fraction of the initial traffic of the first post. So somebody decided to lampoon that about Florida and said literally 3 million people in Florida died yesterday. Can you believe it? And people are stupid enough, okay? People from all around the world bought it hook, line, and sinker because they're so fucking dim. They don't look at the numbers because everybody is trying to propagandize this fucking virus that has, remember guys, say it with me, a 99.95% survivability rate. Nobody's fucking dropping dead in the millions overnight. It doesn't happen. It's not fucking happening. The only place it's happening is in those concentration camps over in China. But hey, what do I have pulled up here? Leaked Zoom video reveals hospital officials discussing COVID-19 scare tactics. You want to know why there were enough people to come out, or they didn't come out to vote. They just mailed in their ballot in California's recall because they get fed a steady diet of this fucking steaming horseshit. A leaked Zoom conference reveals a doctor questioning how to increase the count of COVID-19 patients' numbers on the hospital's dashboard report. Shouldn't you be trying to get this down, or is this just another one of those extrapolations of the military-industrial complex where you continue to need something to fight in order to get the additional funding that has been coming your way for the past 18 months? Almost seems like that's the case. The media outlet National File said that it obtained the record from an internal source at the Novant Health System that includes New Hanover Regional Medical Facility, or Medical Center, my mistake, in Wilmington, North Carolina. Oh, not Wilmington, Delaware. Damn it. National File posted the video on Twitter on its feed on September 10th. Okay. National File and other local media outlets have reported on the leak, identified in the people as the video as Mary Catherine Rudiak, a physician at the medical center who is asking Caroline Fisher, the hospital's director of marketing. Why does the hospital need a director of marketing? Wouldn't you think that those are one of those essential services that really transcends the need to get the word out there? Interesting. How to inflate the number of people classified as COVID-19 patients, for the purpose of generating fear in the unvaccinated. Oh, it's so fucking obvious. It's so obvious this is what they're doing. But remember, guys, we're the conspiracy theorists. I think you have to be more blunt. We have to be more forceful. What, literally go out there and purposefully infect people? Okay, a big plan. Let's see if it pays off. We have to say something coming out. If you don't get vaccinated, you know you are going to die. Oh, look at the numbers, you fucking cunt. Let's just be really blunt to these people. Those others that are out there. Genocidal rhetoric, my friends. Ruddick was asked how post-COVID cases can be included in the number of people hospitalized for COVID-19. Well, they already do it for deaths, because if you die of anything 2 weeks after your your confirmed negative test, you still get classified as a COVID death. Oh my God, that's out there. Everybody fucking knows that, but that inflates the COVID deaths that are out there. So you could get hit by a fucking bus, but if you just recovered from COVID, if you have the antibodies in your system, guess what? It's a COVID death. My feeling at this point in time is that maybe we need to be completely a little bit more scary for the public, Ruddick said. There are many people still hospitalized that we're considering post-COVID, but we are not counting in those numbers. So how do we include these post-COVID people in the number of patients we have in the hospital? That would explain those fucking smooth-brained, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but smooth-brained doctors that are out there who keep saying that emergency rooms are getting flooded. Have you seen the numbers? Yes, I have. Specifically for Alberta. And they don't match up. And if you're doing inflation tactics like this, that would explain the empty parking lots that are around there. I'm just saying. Fisher asked if she meant every patient who has been in the hospital since the beginning of COVID. Ruddick answered, well, they are still in, and that's something I can take to someone else. But I think that those are important numbers. Why? Why? Well, you're the chief marketer. Your job is to make the hospital money through getting word of mouth out there. And how do you do that? Either by, well, there are several options that a marketer can take. You can tell the truth, but that doesn't generate as many clicks as fear and rage. Of course, if the unvaccinated are just being so irresponsible with their health and they're resulting in more hospital trips, guess what? That fear and that rage will get you more money, either from the federal government, either from Big Pharma, but you're going to be doing your job and you're going to be looking like a superstar. So of course, you want to get those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers that you guys have right now. Start counting fucking janitors who have been in the same proximity. Anybody that you can go ahead and contact trace. If you've been close to anybody in a hospital that has COVID, guess what? You're a number and we're putting you up on the board. You fucking six sacks of shit, dude. But long story short, rhetoric like that is why Gavin Newsom was successful in staving off his recall effort. What are they doing in celebration? After Newsom's victory, California Democrats seek to make recalls more difficult because nothing says confidence like fortifying future recall efforts. Literally hours, they already had everything fucking drafted up because we will never, ever, ever have our public officials, elected officials. Apparently, they're supposed to represent you, but they only represent you when they're on the campaign trail. Every 2 years if you're a House member, every 4 years if you're a president, every 6 years if you're a senator, and then of course, going forward in California, you don't have to worry about ever being held accountable, as long as you have a D at the end of your name. Let's see what they're going to try and do. Hours after California Governor Gavin Newsom beat back a recall election by that white supremacist Larry Elder. Okay, that could have removed him, his fellow Democrats in the state legislature. Sorry, there's more than one. Let's use words right. Said Wednesday they will push for changes to make it more difficult to challenge a sitting governor because, God forbid, people's rights and freedoms and opportunities don't need to be protected. You don't need to think. You can just hire somebody else to do that for you. Those reforms could include increasing the number of signatures needed to force a recall election, raising the standard to require wrongdoing on the part of the office holder. Listen, okay, we know he fucked up, but he didn't fuck up enough in order to constitute a recall. Oh, okay, cool. And changing the process that could permit some with a small percentage of votes to replace the state's top elected official. Because, god damn it, Larry Elder almost got 50%. And we need to make sure that threshold, just like up here in Canada, why Maxime Bernier wasn't allowed to be a part of the leaders' debate. Oh, you just need to put that threshold just a little bit higher than what Larry Elder will ultimately end up getting. So you need to get at least 50%. Otherwise, that first question that's on the ballot doesn't really matter anymore. Sucks to suck. But we'll still allow a shotgun-style campaign where you can have as many candidates as you want, so you can go ahead and dilute the process and make it very difficult for one candidate to get that 50%. Hey, but you know what? That'll be more fair and more open and more honest, right? Because Gavin Newsom fancies himself as one day being a presidential candidate. I shit you not. And he models himself after the Biden presidency, one of the most open, honest, and transparent administrations of all time. That's why you need to fortify your elections? Oh, okay, cool. We need to create a system where a small minority of Californians can't initiate a recall that the California taxpayers spent almost $300 million on, and that frankly distracts and really has an impact on our ability to govern for 9 months, Assemblyman Mark Berman said. Okay, listen, I'm going to use your own logic against you. Why would you allow a small minority of Californians to influence policy decisions? See, trans rights, just off the top, I don't know. What do they make up? A fraction percent of people? But you're going to go ahead and spend more than $300 million on them. So, okay. No, you don't want to have to face up to that hypocrisy. Okay, you bet, buddy, you bet. State Senator Josh Newman. You got Bermans, you got Newmans, you got Newsoms. California is quite diverse. Who himself was recalled in 2018 before regaining his seat 2 years later because corruption never dies. Maybe he learned his lesson. separately said he would propose two constitutional amendments, one to raise the number of signatures needed to trigger a recall election. He's already been through it once, and he was successfully recalled. And he wouldn't want to have to go through that again, especially if he wanted to do something scuzzy. I wanted to see what this fucking creep did anyways. Oh no, I'm sorry, he's not a creep, he's just a frequenter of the hair club for men. State Senator Josh Newman was recalled June 5th, 2018. Former Assemblywoman Li Ling Chang was selected to replace him. Republican activists initiated a recall after Newman voted for a bill that increased California's gas tax in April 2017. Because Newman was recalled and replaced by a Republican, Democrats lost 2/3 of the supermajority. Oh my god! California, dude. So it looked like people didn't really appreciate his type of governance, which was exactly the reason why Newsom got recalled. He was just unsuccessful. Josh Newman at the time, he was unsuccessful in staving off his challenger. But it's weird how somebody can get recalled and then work their way back. But if it's a Democrat, that's totally fine. And Trump is going to get pilloried like a motherfucker in a couple years' time. Even though he was only impeached in the House and he was never removed. But hey, just wait for that fucking hypocrisy to perk back up. But yeah, what did numbnuts want? Oh yeah, to raise the number of signatures needed to trigger a recall, and another to have the lieutenant governor finish the governor's term if the recall succeeds. Okay, that seems fair. Just take a look at what lieutenant governor or brand new governor of New York, Kathy Hochul, is doing. The exact same shit as Cuomo was doing, just with significantly less ass grabbing in Albany. Other than that, it's the exact same policies. So the same retarded seals are clapping, they're keeping us safe. And nothing's really getting accomplished. Nothing's really changing. It's just a pair of tits up there instead of just some of last night's spaghetti pouring out of the fucking suit jacket. Newsom on Tuesday became only the second governor in U.S. history to defeat a recall. The other was Wisconsin Republican Scott Walker. The decisive victory cements him as a prominent figure in national Democratic politics and ensures the nation's most populous state remains a laboratory for progressive policies. We already have the results on that, and they're failed policies, but hey, retards still love them. And what do you get in return? Vaccine passports, my guys. LA County plans to require COVID vaccine proof at indoor bars, nightclubs, and more. Let's see how far theirs goes. Los Angeles County health officials are planning a new order that will require proof of COVID-19 vaccinations at indoor bars, wineries, breweries, nightclubs, and lounges county-wide. My mistake. It's not countrywide yet. The health director announced Wednesday. The order will also require all attendees and workers at outdoor mega events, whatever that means, with crowds of more than 10,000. That is hardly a fucking what anybody would consider a mega event, okay? A regular season, I don't know, just pull a fucking hockey team out of your hat. The Tampa Bay Lightning, they pull more than 10,000. I wouldn't consider that a fucking mega event, okay? An arena concert pulls more than 10,000 people. I couldn't even name a popular act right now. They all just suck and are homogenized in sound, so I can't give you an up-to-date reference. A Cheap Trick is going to be playing. They'll pull 10,000. That's not a mega event, you fucking cunts. In California, attendees of indoor events, my mistake, like concerts and sports games. We know sports. With more than 1,000 attendees were already required to show proof of vaccination or a negative virus test result. Now, it's coming to more places because they're working oh so well. You could just take a look at the date-over-date case numbers and realize that Gavin Newsom's handling of the virus, well, if you agree with it, I guess you agree with more cases and more restrictions because, hey, that's what I guess that's what they're all about in California. I don't really know. I could, if you're hearing this, okay, it's only going to get worse in California, okay? Because if you're a conservative, if you are a freedom-minded individual, it's not going to get better. It's going to get worse until they descend into full-blown bankruptcy, okay? And they're on track for it. And now they're leading the charge on tyrannical policies that just boggle the fucking mind. And now with Newsom's victory, is that going to have a ripple effect out there? Is it going to have these blue governors with red legislatures think that they're going to have more unmitigated power. They think that they're going to be able to flex their muscle out there. They're going to start sowing seeds of dissension. I wouldn't put it past Whitmer, and apparently I'm not going to put it past Tom Wolf anyways. Pennsylvania Senate committee spars over advancing election investigation. After a heated debate, Pennsylvania's Senate Intergovernmental Operations Committee voted along party lines Wednesday to issue subpoenas to Acting Secretary of State Veronica Daffern. I don't care, this broad, requiring her office to provide an avalanche of recent election information. Democrats hope to block the subpoenas in court because you guys are scared. You're scared. If any of these ballots see the light of day, they'll be questioned. But as in California, as will be the case in Pennsylvania, don't worry about it. It's already done and dusted. Okay, we counted the numbers and the evidence is overwhelming in our favor. Don't bother looking any further. Just make sure that you stay at home. You be scared. You wear your mask and get the jab and save lives, or whatever the NPC update is that you keep seeing everywhere. Something, wear a mask, be a hero, get the booster, be a sheep, something like that. That has a nice ring to it. But with that said, sorry, that was a downer. Don't worry, that's going to be a theme throughout the rest of the day. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.